Have you ever been treated like you don't matter? Imagine someone dismissing your worth, ignoring your voice, or crossing every line. Today, I'm going to show you 7 powerful ways to handle people who don't respect you, so you can take back your power and never let anyone undervalue you again. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most powerful tools you can wield when dealing with people who don't respect you. Boundaries are essentially the invisible lines that define where you end and where others begin. They communicate to the world what is acceptable to you and what is not, and they serve as a declaration of your self-worth. Without boundaries, you leave yourself vulnerable to manipulation, exploitation, and disrespect. People who sense that you lack clear boundaries will often test limits, push buttons, and take liberties they would never dare if you had firmly established your stance. The process of setting boundaries begins with self-awareness. You must first understand your values, priorities, and emotional thresholds. Ask yourself, what behaviors am I willing to tolerate? What crosses the line and hurts my sense of self? What kind of treatment do I refuse to accept, regardless of the relationship? These questions are not about being rigid or unkind. They are about creating a framework that protects your dignity and energy. Once you have clarity about your limits, the next step is communicating them effectively. Boundaries are not merely internal rules. They must be expressed in ways that others can understand. This may require direct verbal communication, written agreements, or consistent actions that reinforce the limits you have set. For example, if someone consistently interrupts or talks over you, a boundary might look like calmly saying, "I will not continue this conversation if I am not given a chance to speak," and then following through by stepping away if the behavior persists. Consistency is key because inconsistent enforcement signals weakness or indecision, which encourages continued disrespect. Setting boundaries also involves making choices that prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. This may mean limiting your interactions with certain individuals, saying no to requests that drain your energy, or avoiding environments where you are consistently undermined. Boundaries are a form of self-respect, and practicing them sends a powerful message. You value yourself enough to protect your peace. Another important aspect of boundaries is recognizing that you cannot control how others will respond. Some people may resist, argue, or test your limits when you first establish them. This is normal. Setting boundaries is not about pleasing everyone or avoiding conflict. It is about standing firm in your principles. Expect pushback, but do not let it deter you from enforcing the limits you have set. The strength of a boundary comes not only from the clarity of your statement, but from your willingness to uphold it consistently. Boundaries are dynamic. They can evolve as relationships and circumstances change, but the underlying principle remains the same. Your respect for yourself cannot be compromised. Learning to set boundaries requires courage and practice. Many people feel guilty when they assert their limits, fearing rejection or confrontation. It is crucial to shift your perspective. Establishing boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary for healthy interactions. When you fail to set boundaries, you may find yourself trapped in cycles of frustration, resentment, and low self-esteem. People who do not respect you thrive in the absence of boundaries because they can manipulate and control without consequence. By contrast, a person with clear boundaries creates a natural filter. Those who value and respect you will adapt to your limits, while those who do not will reveal themselves quickly. Boundaries also serve as a guide for your own behavior. By defining what you will and will not tolerate, you cultivate a stronger sense of self-discipline and integrity. You become less reactive to provocations because you have a clear internal compass directing your actions. This internal clarity allows you to navigate difficult interactions with confidence and poise. Setting boundaries is not limited to external interactions. It also applies to how you treat yourself. Recognize your own needs, prioritize your goals, and resist the urge to compromise your values for the sake of others' comfort. When you respect yourself, you inherently command respect from those around you. Another critical component is learning to say no without over-explaining or justifying. Often, people who struggle with disrespect allow themselves to be coerced because they feel obligated to provide lengthy explanations or apologies. A firm, simple, and confident no is often more effective than a long-winded justification. It communicates decisiveness and clarity, which are key to reinforcing boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are protective structures that allow healthy relationships to flourish while keeping toxicity at bay. They enable you to engage with others from a place of strength rather than fear or desperation. The more clearly you define your limits, the less likely you are to tolerate behavior that undermines your dignity. It is important to recognize that boundary setting is a skill, not an innate trait. It requires observation, reflection, and adjustment. Some people may try to blur your boundaries intentionally, testing your resolve. When this happens, it is essential to remain consistent, assertive, and calm. Over time, this consistency cultivates respect and discourages attempts at manipulation. Boundaries also create a framework for accountability. When you establish limits, you provide a standard against which behavior can be measured. If someone crosses the line, they are confronted not with emotional outbursts, but with a clear reference point for their actions. This reduces confusion, ambiguity, and repeated offenses. Moreover, boundaries empower you to take control of your emotional responses. Instead of reacting impulsively to disrespect, you respond within the parameters you have set. This shifts power back to you and diminishes the control that others may try to exert. In professional settings, boundaries are equally important. They define how colleagues, supervisors, and clients can interact with you. Setting professional boundaries prevents exploitation, burnout, and undue stress, ensuring that you maintain both productivity and personal well-being. In personal relationships, boundaries protect your emotional health and preserve the integrity of your connections. Without them, relationships often become imbalanced, leaving you drained and undervalued. Establishing boundaries does not guarantee that all conflicts will disappear, but it does create a foundation of respect upon which trust and understanding can grow. The journey of setting boundaries may be uncomfortable at first. You may encounter resistance, guilt, or doubt. These feelings are natural, but they should not deter you. Every boundary you establish reinforces your self-worth and gradually transforms how others perceive and interact with you. Ultimately, setting clear boundaries is about reclaiming your power. It is a proactive approach to life, signaling to everyone around you that your time, energy, and dignity are non-negotiable. Boundaries are a declaration that you will not be diminished, ignored, or taken for granted. They are the cornerstone of self-respect and a critical strategy for navigating a world where not everyone will treat you with the consideration you deserve. As you practice this skill, you will notice a shift in the dynamics of your relationships. People who respect you will gravitate toward your clarity and confidence, while those who seek to undermine you will either adjust or gradually remove themselves from your life. This natural filtering process ensures that your interactions are increasingly aligned with mutual respect and value. Setting boundaries also enhances your emotional intelligence. By understanding and communicating your limits, you become more attuned to the boundaries and needs of others. This creates a healthier balance in your interactions, fostering relationships that are grounded in respect, trust, and mutual understanding. The power of boundaries lies in their consistency, clarity, and courage. Each time you enforce a boundary, you reinforce your identity and self-respect, sending a message that you will not be disrespected, manipulated, or diminished. It is not about controlling others. It is about controlling the terms under which you allow others to interact with you. By setting boundaries, you cultivate an environment where respect is expected, dignity is protected, and your life is guided by intentional choices rather than reactive responses. Responding rather than reacting is one of the most critical skills you can develop when dealing with people who don't respect you. It's about shifting from impulsive, emotion-driven actions to thoughtful, deliberate responses that preserve your dignity and maintain control over your interactions. When someone disrespects you, the natural human instinct is often to react immediately, shouting, arguing, or retaliating. While these reactions may provide a temporary sense of relief, they rarely resolve the issue and often escalate the conflict, leaving you feeling drained and powerless. Responding, on the other hand, is a conscious choice. It involves assessing the situation, understanding your own emotions, and deciding the most effective course of action. The first step in learning to respond rather than react is cultivating self-awareness. You need to recognize your triggers, those words, behaviors, or attitudes that provoke an emotional response. By identifying these triggers, you create a pause between stimulus and action, giving yourself the opportunity to choose a response that aligns with your values and long-term goals. Emotional regulation is a key component of this process. When faced with disrespect, it's easy to let anger, frustration, or hurt dictate your actions. However, allowing emotions to dominate leads to impulsive reactions that can compromise your integrity and escalate tension. Techniques such as deep breathing, visualization, and mindfulness can help you manage your emotional state, enabling a calm and measured response. Another essential aspect is perspective. Often, disrespectful behavior reflects more about the other person than it does about you. Understanding that their actions are a product of their own insecurities, biases, or frustrations can help you detach emotionally and approach the situation with clarity rather than defensiveness. Responding strategically also involves setting the tone and context of your communication. Your words, body language, and tone should convey confidence and assertiveness without aggression. This communicates to the other person that while you acknowledge their behavior, you will not be manipulated or belittled. Active listening is a vital tool in responding effectively. By listening carefully to the other person, you can identify the underlying issues, motivations, or misunderstandings that may be driving their disrespect. This allows you to address the root cause rather than merely reacting to surface-level provocations. In many cases, a calm and reasoned response can diffuse tension and even transform a potentially adversarial interaction into a constructive dialogue. Timing is another critical factor. Reacting impulsively often means responding in the heat of the moment when emotions are at their peak. Responding strategically may require pausing, taking time to process your thoughts, and choosing the right moment to address the behavior. This delay can prevent escalation and increase the effectiveness of your communication. Clear and assertive communication is the backbone of responding effectively. This means expressing your feelings, needs, and boundaries directly and respectfully. Use I statements to convey how the behavior affects you without assigning blame, which reduces defensiveness and fosters understanding. For example, saying, "I feel disrespected when my opinions are dismissed," is far more effective than "you always disrespect me." Maintaining consistency in your responses is equally important. If you respond to disrespect sporadically or inconsistently, you send mixed signals, allowing others to test your limits. Consistency reinforces your standards and communicates that you are in control of your interactions. Responding rather than reacting also requires mental reframing. Instead of viewing disrespect as a personal attack, see it as an opportunity to practice patience, assertiveness, and strategic thinking. This mindset shift transforms challenges into growth opportunities and strengthens your resilience. In professional environments, responding strategically can protect your reputation, maintain productivity, and foster positive relationships. It allows you to address conflicts without damaging collaborations or creating unnecessary tension. In personal relationships, responding thoughtfully helps preserve emotional health, avoid unnecessary arguments, and model respectful communication. Self-reflection is a critical component of this approach. After each interaction, take time to evaluate your response. Did it align with your values and goals? Could it have been handled more effectively? Continuous reflection and adjustment enhance your ability to respond in increasingly effective ways. Boundaries and responses are interconnected. Responding thoughtfully reinforces the boundaries you set, while boundaries provide the framework within which your responses are effective. Together, they create a system of self-respect, clarity, and control. Responding rather than reacting also enhances your problem-solving skills. By pausing and assessing the situation, you can identify solutions that address the issue constructively rather than perpetuating conflict. This approach fosters a proactive mindset, enabling you to navigate challenges with intelligence and composure. Emotional resilience is built through repeated practice of responding strategically. Each time you choose a measured response over an impulsive reaction, you strengthen your capacity to remain calm under pressure and maintain control in challenging situations. Developing this skill requires patience, commitment, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. It's natural to feel tempted to react immediately, especially when emotions run high. However, the discipline of responding strategically transforms these moments of tension into opportunities for growth, mastery, and influence. When you consistently respond rather than react, you command respect not through intimidation or aggression, but through poise, integrity, and clarity. People learn quickly that attempts to provoke or disrespect you will not yield the reactions they expect. Your calm, deliberate responses set the standard for how others interact with you, gradually shaping relationships around respect, understanding, and accountability. Responding rather than reacting also empowers you to manage your energy effectively. By avoiding unnecessary emotional outbursts, you conserve your mental and emotional resources for situations that truly matter. This enhances focus, productivity, and overall well-being. Over time, this practice creates a ripple effect. Those around you observe your composure and may be inspired to adopt similar approaches. It fosters a culture of respect and thoughtful communication, reducing conflicts and enhancing the quality of interactions in all areas of your life. The power of responding strategically lies in its combination of emotional intelligence, assertiveness, and patience. It transforms how you experience and navigate disrespect, allowing you to maintain control, protect your dignity, and foster healthier, more balanced relationships. By committing to this approach, you cultivate a life where respect is earned, maintained, and consistently reinforced, regardless of the challenges posed by others.